Black Out Loud Media Group. Welcome back to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast, the place where poetry meets conversation. I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and before we get into today's topic, make sure you hit that plus sign so you don't miss an episode. Also, please subscribe to my blog, thebrownssugarcafe.blog, and if you find any value in this episode or any other episodes, make sure you leave a heartfelt review. So with that being said, let's get to it. Welcome back, everybody. Today I have a special guest with me, Lavoris Frazier of Obey Success. So, Lavoris, introduce yourself to my audience.
Yes, sir. My name is Lavoris Frazier. I'm the founder of Obey Success LLC, where we promote music production, we promote physical fitness, and we promote motivational speaking and motivational encouragement. I am from Reedsville, South Carolina. I am the father of 3 daughters, and I'm a believer of Jesus Christ, first and foremost. I just love doing what I do.
Tell us how you got started with Obey Success. Like, what was the turning point?
Well, I believe that this was a journey that started for me when I was literally born. Like, it was being cultivated as a child, and growing up, I didn't fully understand my purpose because I saw it. Well, let's just say this. So I was told that I was going to be a preacher at 12 years old.
Right.
And as a preacher, especially in our family, you saw like one phase of a preacher.
Right.
And that was pretty much in church on the pulpit. And honestly, I didn't necessarily have a problem with being a pulpit preacher. I didn't have a problem with that at all. But my issue was it still was something missing. It wasn't that I was like, oh no, I don't want to be a preacher, because I actually wanted to be a preacher. Like, all my life I wanted to be like that traditional preacher. But as I was growing up, I knew that it was just something different about me. Like, I couldn't put my hand on it. So I'm like, and honestly, I strayed away from the whole church identity. I strayed away from, I denounced the fact that I was going to be a preacher, like all that stuff, because I just didn't understand it. And I felt like it was just a burden, because I was literally like, mentally, I was like, okay, I just don't get this whole thing. So I'm just running away from it altogether. And so needless to say, I ran from that whole idea of preaching, speaking, and all this great stuff for I was prophesied in 2000, literally 20 years. I ran from that whole idea, because what happened, I got prophesied in 2000. 2020, here comes COVID, the pandemic.
Yeah.
So what happened is 20 years later, God was like, I'm going to shut everything down. And it's just for my life. I can't say what God say, I'm going to shut everything for everybody else. But for me, God told me, I'm going to shut everything down. And it's very ironic, because when he told me he was going to shut everything down, that's when the pandemic happened. So I'm literally, and I remember I was in a relationship with this young lady, and she told me, she said, Lavoris, it's something about you. It's something, you'll be a great speaker. And so I told her, I was like, nah, man, I'm going through so much right now. Like, I ain't even got time for that right now. Like, I brushed it off. She said, yeah, I get that, but I sense that about you. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And so
Yeah.
Um, so so the pandemic came and everything was shut down, man. And I promise you, it's like God just, my life flashed before my eyes, and I don't know what it was, but God showed me how my ministry will work. And for the first time in my life, I said, "Oh, okay, I get it now. Like, I get it. Like, I can do ministry. I don't have to be like just in the four walls, but I can do
Right.
ministry outside of the four walls. And not only that, I can do ministry how God created me. I'm not the traditional suit and tie guy. I love wearing suits, but as far as when it comes to motivation, I believe in stage matching. So if I'm going to preach to um let's just say a quote unquote drug dealer, a quote unquote street guy, I'm I knew when I was in the streets, I knew a guy in a suit couldn't really talk to me because I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
he already got his
exactly.
stuff together. So,
Right.
I know he doing good, but that didn't catch me because I'm like, all right, I ain't trying to be like that because he already passed me. So I'm good on that. But if a guy came to me talking just like how I talk, and he showed me he was successful, now he got my attention because I'm like, wait a minute, how he talk just like me, he walk just like me, his hair just like mine, he got tattoos, but he's successful. Like, and he talking about God. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, wait a minute, it's something up to this. So that what caught my attention. And I told God, I said, God, if I can be an example to the ones who are lost, if I can be a great example to the one who it's like dark, it's like they like, man, my life already, like I'm already a failure, bro. So I'm just do what I do. I'm a grind, you know what I mean? Whether I get killed or not, I'm just do what I do. Like I want to minister to those people. Like that was my heart.
Right.
Now,
Right.
will I reach other people? Yeah. But my heart was to the ones who kind of felt like me. And I often say this: it doesn't, and I believe I have the greatest family in the world. I honestly believe that. But it doesn't matter like where you came from. It really don't. What matters is that you have the tenacity and you have the availability to um like see what God has for your life. And
Right.
it's great to have people and to have examples of somebody who can look at and say, "Oh man, that guy right there helped me." Like when I saw his ministry, when I heard him talk, when I seen him do what he do, it inspired me. And that's what I want to be. I want to be an inspiration for those who just was lost, man. Like, and also I want to be an inspiration to those who other people were scared of. Like other people like, nah, I ain't gonna deal with that. Like they already lost. I ain't, nah, I want to help those because I found that to be an issue too. It's like, you know, I ain't gonna deal with that type of people, or I'm not gonna
Right.
mess with them. You know what I mean? And those are the very people that need your help. And so
Exactly.
I want it to be, um, I want it to be that, man. So needless to say, man, that would inspire me for Obey Success. Obey Success was like a platform where I could just be what God called me to be without condemnation, So here we are today, man. It's growing. God is blessing. And it's like, I don't even know how. I know it's going to be huge, but it's like, it's going to be bigger than I can even
Oh
imagine.
yeah. Oh yeah. You on the way, brother. You on the way. And I want to jump back to what you were talking about earlier, as far as, because, well, for those of you who don't know, me and Lavoris are cousins. Growing up in our family, we saw ministry one way, as just being a pulpit preacher.
Right.
So, as we got older, I know, speaking for myself, like, I didn't, like you, I didn't understand the whole thing. And I'm like, I understand that we're here to help people, we're here to motivate people, and we're here, to service people. That's a part of our lineage. But I didn't understand the whole pulpit preacher thing. And so with my Facebook posts and stuff like that, like one day I was just, talking to God, and he was like, that is your ministry.
Mm.
Like, it's not just, it's not pulpit preaching or that sort of thing, but your words, that's how you help people. That's how you bring people out of dark situations.
Right.
And we we growing up and stuff, we just thought that preaching was just pulpit or whatever, but it's actually more about ministry and not being a pulpit pastor, because you can't reach people. Because like growing up, I always thought about it like this. Like when we would be in church and stuff, I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, the people who really need to hear this stuff aren't in here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So somebody needs to go out and reach those people.
Yep.
And be an example to those people. And it's about your ministry is about how you live your life and how you carry yourself and your heart for people, and that pours out. That's just a part of our family. I remember
Right.
Thanksgiving one time, Uncle Patrick was talking about how our family is like a family of givers. Like that's just in us, and that's when
Mhm.
it finally clicked for me. I was like, that's it. That's who we are. And it's like no matter what type of situations we've been in, what type of some people call it straying off or whatever, or however you want to categorize it, no matter what, it's like your heart is still pure and your heart is still there for
Yep.
people, because that's just who we are.
Yep.
And so I remember I started seeing the stuff. I started seeing Obey Success, and I was like, okay, all right. And then you really threw it out there. I saw the fitness, the weightlifting.
Mm-hmm.
Now talk about that, because I see you on this journey right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you racking them up, brother. You racking them up. I said, man, I got to get back more active in the gym. So talk about that. Like, how did you come to incorporate that with Obey Success?
Well, it kind of goes back to the areas. It kind of goes back to how I said that God used the purpose and the talents that I had to cultivate Obey Success. So my main streams in life is health, music, and literally motivation. So when you talk
Right.
about health, we already know the two main things we think about is our diets and physical exercise, physical activity. And honestly, those are the two main criteria when it comes to health. So I started out with the physical fitness side. I was always a pretty good athlete. And so,
yeah.
but what happened, and I shared this a couple of months ago, but what happened in my journey, I got discouraged with football and basketball. And so, long story short, I said, well, you know what? I failed in football. I failed in basketball. I said, so what I'm going to do is the same tenacity, the same drive I had, which honestly, I tell people all the time, I say I was a great athlete, but I wasn't good in my sport. And the difference is, it's just like LeBron James. I'm pretty sure there's somebody in the world that's better than LeBron James, but
of course.
but LeBron James, he had the drive. Like it was his goal. It wasn't just something he knew he was talented at, but it's something he knew he was going to work at as well. Right. And so I tell people all the time, yes, I was talented, but I didn't have the drive. That was missing. So I failed in that area. And I said, well, okay, I'm older now. I can't go to NBA. I can't go to NFL. I said, what can I still do that could give me that same drive, that same tenacity, that same training ethic? And so I said, and I'm talking maybe I started weightlifting seriously in college. And so what happened is, but at that time I was just weightlifting just to get girls. I mean, that wasn't nothing serious. But what happened, there was a period where I was consistent for about 16 months to a year. I was really consistent.
That's
and I saw my body,
boy.
Yeah. And so I saw my body like transforming. So I was like, wait a minute, I can make some serious noise. So what happened? But I kind of fell off the wayside, got married, and when I got married, I kind of just totally just threw the weight training away. And but I say in 2018, went through a divorce, and so I was like, wait a minute. So I had to have something that I could have like really gravitate to, and something that I can do positive to steer my energy in something. And I picked back up weightlifting. And so I started off weightlifting, and I was just working out just for fun, really, and just trying to do something that was stress free. And a guy came to me. He said, man, you pretty strong, bro. And I was like, yeah, appreciate it, whatever. And he said, you ever thought about doing a weightlifting competition? And I said, nah, man. I said, bro, I'm too old. I ain't, and at this time I'm only 29, 30.
Yeah.
But I said, man, I'm too old, man. I ain't been training like that. And I said, I'm getting a little older, so I don't know. And so he said, okay, I understand. And so I continue to work out, and I want to say last year I had a powerlifting coach. He came to me. He said, man, he said, do you? Well, he saw me exercising, saw me working out, and and it's funny, he saw that my technique was horrible. Like, he was like, bro, you strong, but your technique is horrible. Like, he was like, I believe if you straighten up your technique, you can really, do some damage. Right. And so when he said that, what struck me was, and I don't mean no harm, but he wasn't stroking my ego, and he wasn't like just bragging on me, but he talked about my technique. And see, I'm the type of person, like, I love the congratulations. I love that. But I love a person who can like positively critique me. And so that caught my attention. So I'm like, I said, what you mean by my technique? He's like, man, if you, engage your lats on your bench and this and that and the third. So he showed me all that. So I got a little better. And then he said, man, you ever thought about doing a competition? So I heard this question again. And I'm like, okay. And then he said, man, I really think that you can do well in a competition. So when a powerlifting coach told me that, I said, okay, there may be something up to this. Let me just give it a try. So needless to say, man, I got started with powerlifting training May of this year. And my first meet is August the 27th. So I'm taking the drive that I had with basketball and football, and I failed in that. So I said, let me take that same passion and put it into this and see where it can take me. And so that's what really got me to where I am now, man.
Yeah, man, because it seems like every time I jump on Instagram, you like, how much you benching right now?
Well, literally, I maxed yesterday at 390.
Woo!
I hit 390, and now what's crazy is I never was a great squatter, and I was an okay deadlifter, but I'm getting better at squatting and deadlifting. So my goal is by August 27th, is to be over 1,500 pounds in each lift. So that's my calculation, like 405 bench press, maybe 625 deadlift, and 500 on squat. And so I'm getting better. So yeah, you should be seeing a lot of more maxes and a lot of more PRs, which is personal rep. So yeah, that's the goal, man.
Yeah, because I look at those videos, man, and because I used to be in the gym pretty tough, and I kind of fell off, and then especially when COVID happened, I really fell off, and right. I kind of got back on a little bit, and it's kind of slow for me to get back in that groove, but I got to get back in there, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so congratulations, man. Looking forward to hearing about your progress and where you're going with this. You said this in August or September?
August 27th. My first.
Yep,
that'll be my first competition meet. So I'm excited about that.
Where is it? Is it open to the public? Where is it?
Yeah, it's open to the public. It's in Florence.
Okay.
And it's the McLeod Center in Florence. And I'll be promoting the actual contest maybe in a couple of weeks. But yeah, it's in Florence.
Okay, yeah. Make sure you get me that information, and I'll put it out to my listeners. And of course, I have information on there as
Definitely.
well. Yeah. So every Wednesday, you do something. Tell the
hmm
people what you do every Wednesday and what was the motivation behind that.
Well, every Wednesday I have Wednesday Real Talk, and the motivation behind that is two main criteria. So if you look at the average week, the average activity week of average person in the workforce, they call it the hump day. Wednesday's
Right.
hump day. Wednesday is very comfortable for most people because they got over Monday and Tuesday, and they say, "Well, all I gotta do is get to Thursday and Friday, and I'm good." And so Wednesday is that day where I believe that most people can really gravitate to a word of motivation because they made it through Monday and Tuesday, so they're like, "Oh, okay." And so I decided to do Wednesday Real Talk, and Wednesday Real Talk is really it's a message that, and what I integrate is Bible with reality, and it's crazy because I took public speaking in college, and I have the attributes and I have all the criteria to be an articulate speaker and all this great stuff and uses big words. But what's crazy is when God was really working on me with my ministry, God told me not to use, and this is me now. God told
Yeah.
me not to don't go up there trying to use big words. Like, I just need you to pierce the people's heart. Like, I need you to
Right.
really just hit them. Like, I don't need the big words. I don't need the suit and tie. I don't need the, the makeup. I don't need none of that. I just need you to talk to the people, pierce their heart. And so that what cultivated Wednesday Real Talk. And it's real talk because I'm not talking about aliens. I'm not talking about drama. I'm not talking about, you know,
Yeah.
uh, Housewives of Atlanta. No, I'm talking about what people go through in real life and what people are dealing with. And so, and I call Wednesday Real Talk my baby because I have some other projects I'm going to do, but Wednesday Real Talk is what God gave me first. That is the project that I'll never forget. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has
Right.
this, they have their thing that really got them on or put them on. That's what put me on. And but yeah, every Wednesday, um, I post every Wednesday at 8 p.m. between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. So that should be flooding your timeline and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's what inspired me for Wednesday Real Talk, man.
Okay, and let the people know how they can tune in to Wednesday Real Talk. What social media platforms are you on?
So Obey Success Instagram. Now I gotta say that my Facebook page was hacked. So I'm currently not on Facebook right now.
Okay.
But as of now, Instagram, Obey Success. I'm working on getting to other avenues like Twitter and YouTube and all this great stuff. But right now, I'm on mainly on YouTube. I'm sorry, mainly on Instagram, Obey Success.
Okay, it's very interesting that you said why. Well, the reason why you picked Wednesday, because when I started doing my poetry, well, I say like this: when I started letting people know that I write poetry,
hmm
and I created that blog, I chose Wednesday for those same reasons because it was the midweek,
Yep. Yep.
and something to kind of get people through the rest of the week because most people find ways to motivate themselves and have to find ways to motivate themselves on Monday. to kind of,
Yep.
if they, got that regular work week or whatever, they have to find ways. But like you said, once you get past Tuesday, you need something else. I started with that on Wednesdays. Wow, that's very, very interesting. And we've never had a conversation about this before, so it's
All right.
like yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, man, because even like with my poetry, like most people, you probably didn't know I wrote poetry. You know what I'm
Nope.
saying? Most
Nope.
people didn't know that was, and it wasn't like I was trying to hide it. It just was something I just never talked about. I was talking to somebody about it, and they said, it's probably because you just, you're a real humble dude. You're not the type of person to try to brag and all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
that's probably why I was like, well, I guess so. And
Yeah.
then, like when I decided to share my poetry, it was in the vein of love. Like
Mm.
that's where, like when I was, because I write all types of poems, but those are the ones that, God laid on my heart to share with people. And then my first two books, love, and then, the first about year or two, whatever, with my blog, it was just love poems. And then it developed more into motivational stuff, positive stuff, but still in that vein, because love is the center of it all. So
Right.
that's where I went with that, and I've been sticking with it every Wednesday, just trying to find something to motivate people, to pull people out, to have people see that they're not what they, the negative stuff that they think they are. They're not less than. I mean, it's crazy when you see things on TV, social media, all over whatever. Because I have this new slogan now that I'm saying, like, I'm on a journey to spread love in a world that seems to be full of hate. Because
Mm.
it may seem like it's full of, but it's not
Right.
full of. It's a lot of
Right.
love, a lot of positive things out there. But most people eyes, well, I wouldn't say most, a lot of people eyes are drawn to drama, negative
Right.
stuff. It's like that's more interesting for some odd reason.
Yep.
Like I had a matter of fact, yesterday, um, we were at the light, man. It was these two homeless men, and um, they were having an argument, and it almost got physical. And my first thought was, y'all need to chill out, y'all need to stop. And somebody pulled up, and they, hopped out and stopped them or whatever. But then later on, I thought about it, and I was like, wow, I just saw this thing escalate, and my first thought wasn't grab my phone to record it.
Wow.
And most
World
people, that's yeah, most people do that. And my whole
Yeah.
thing is like, y'all need to chill out. Whatever y'all arguing about is not that serious. I mean, it was really about to get to it. One guy went in the bag and pulled out a knife.
Wow.
Yeah. But it wasn't until later I thought about that. I'm just like, I guess I need to stop saying most. A lot of people would have grabbed their phones to
Yep.
record.
Yep. You're right.
And those sort of things, I hate seeing those type of videos, especially when people are in danger and somebody just pulls out a phone and start recording.
Right.
It's like, how is that your first thought?
Right. Right.
Even with like traffic, I remember one day I was going to work and there was a car on fire on the side of the road, and traffic was going slow, and I'm just like, we kind of need to hurry up and get past this car in case it blows up. And when I finally kind of got around the cars, as people who were going slow, they were recording the car on fire. And I'm just like, come on, man. So you're gonna put yourself in danger too just to get this video.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's when you see stuff like that, and that's the thing that people gravitate towards. So like my next book, the book I'm working on now, I just finished the first draft. It's entitled "Pain Is Not Our Only Paintbrush," and it's going to be more geared towards being a black man, a black person, period. And what started it was I wrote my version of Strange Fruit, and it was like the more modern version, and I still haven't shared that poem yet, but then I started thinking about it. I was like, people just love to hear the negative stuff, like our pain and our trauma and all that is always highlighted. So this book, I wanted to share more positive stories and more uplifting things from a black person's perspective, because we have more positive things going on. Yes, a lot of jacked up things going on, especially with the police and all of that, but we're more than that.
Right.
And those things should be highlighted.
Definitely.
So that's where I am now in my poetry. But it's just I want people to see not just themselves in a better light, but everybody else.
You're right.
Because I feel like right now everybody is so okay. I'll say it like this: when it comes to people's feelings, and everybody's feelings matter. But I think what's happened is we've over sensationalized
Yeah.
everybody's feelings
Yeah.
matter,
Mm-hmm.
and people aren't thinking logically when it comes to that sort of thing. It's
Yeah.
like my feelings matter, and they're shutting out anybody else's feeling. They're not open to having conversations. They're not open to having understanding,
Nope.
and that's causing a problem. Something that was intended to be like, well, your feelings matter, and yeah, that's cool, but you can't shut everything out,
Right. Right.
and you can't. Some people they wanna. I call it. They look for people to, I guess, approve of their foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're going through something, if you're hurting, and you going through social media, Instagram or whatever, and you finding these quotes, you could make something that doesn't even apply to your situation apply to it, because it may have one or two things that sounds like your situation, and you're looking for some sort of validation for
Yep.
why you feel this way or why you're acting this way, and nobody's really trying to get to the actual root of the problem.
Yep.
It's just like, my feelings matter, I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I like the color red, you like the color blue, I'm not talking to you anymore.
Yep. That's it. Ain't nothing to
So
talk about.
right. So I'm trying, I'm trying to do my part to open people's minds, and we're all different. We're not the same.
Right.
We all have different ways of thinking about things. And for us to actually communicate, we have to understand each person's point of view. And I don't think we have enough conversation.
We don't.
We don't have enough, trying to get to understand. We want to get our point across first. We want to express our feelings, but we don't take into consideration everybody else's.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's where I try to go now. Like that was the whole thing behind starting this podcast. It was an extension of my blog posts and my poetry, whatever. And I was thinking about it for a while, and I just decided, I was like, okay, I guess it's time. I got a microphone for my birthday, last year, and that
Mm.
was that push. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I got a microphone now. I can't let this go to waste.
Yeah.
So here I am, just trying to do my part, man, to show people other things, man. Show different sides of us, because we're not stereotypes, and we don't have to feel like we're stereotypes.
Right.
So I want to put some positivity out there. So
Right.
yeah, man, I love what you're doing. Follow the page on Instagram. Looking forward to this YouTube. I created a YouTube channel myself, but I haven't put anything on it yet. But I'm
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to you doing a YouTube channel.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I just want to piggyback what you said about and I want to congratulate you too, man. Like you inspire me, man. You really do.
Oh wow, thanks.
Not not just because you my cousin, but because I know somebody who's doing something great. Like it's one thing to say, well, I know this guy on TV, or I know of somebody, but somebody in my family, man, that is, I love that, man. Like that's real talk, man. But I also want to piggyback on, we was talking about ministry, and one, and it goes back to when you're talking about, one thing that gravitated me to doing my style of ministry and talk about your style of ministry is the fact that you have to go with the waves of times as well. So it's like, with social media being the wave now, you can't do ministry how you did ministry 60 years ago, 50 years ago. Like you have to adapt with the times, and you have to reach the people of the time, because the Bible often talks about this generation. When it talks about Jesus dealing with certain stuff, Jesus often said this generation. So what Jesus was saying was, in these times, this is how you have to go about ministry. In these times, this is how you have to do certain things. And I think we missed that part. because we often say, well, this how mama did it, this how Papa did it, this how granny did it, but that was 50 years ago.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you have to adjust with the times. Now, you talked about love, right? And Papa always said that love is what it does. So our
yes,
family
sir.
was built upon love. So what we did is, and I'm connecting the dots. So what we did is we took the same message, but we related with the times.
Right.
And I think that's the power of continuing a positive legacy. That's the power of doing what our ancestors want us to do. That's the power of upholding that legacy. And now you got our grandparents' generation, then you got our parents' generation, and then you got our generation, and now you got our little cousin Cam with the Frazier podcast. So we are
Yes.
reaching, you know what I'm saying? The legacy is continuing. So I want to say, man, and I'm pretty sure he looked up to you, he looked up to me, and all this great stuff. But that shows you that we are keeping up with the times. And
Right.
so I want to congratulate you, man, and keep doing what you do, man. And what we doing now, bro, is just the beginning. This is just like, trial and error, because
Yeah, yeah.
it's you know what I'm saying. So yeah, man, I'm excited, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. I'm very proud of you, man. I mean, when you first started and I started seeing you post and stuff, you didn't back up off of it.
Right,
Like you kept going and you added stuff and you added stuff, and it's really developing.
right,
And sometimes it's easy for us to start something and have that passion behind it, and it fizzle out after a couple of weeks or a couple of months. And it's not that it could be anything from like doubt or just time, or you just kind of question yourself, well, did I really hear that I'm supposed to be doing this, or am I really reaching people?
right.
Because I have a friend of mine who he's a poet as well, and he puts, I mean, he has some dope poetry, and he, after a while, he'll take it down, and I'm just like, man, what happened to it? And he said, well, nobody was seeing it anyway. I was like, but you don't know who might
Hmm.
run across that.
Hmm.
You don't know who might stumble across that and need that. So for some people, it's draining to try to keep up with these algorithms and stuff like that. But I tell people, don't worry about that, man, because it's always going to change. You can't master it because
Right,
it's called an algorithm. You're not going to
right,
master it. It's always changing.
right, right.
So just get your message, put your message out there, and just send it out there. If
That's it.
somebody needs it, they need to hear it, they need to see it, they will. But you can't worry yourself about it and try to, well, this didn't get that many views or likes or whatever, I'm gonna take it down and post it again later. Oh,
Hmm. Man, hey, let me help the people with this. So the first thing we got to do is find our purpose. And when you find your purpose, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, your purpose is going to be different from everybody else.
right.
Like, your purpose is not, and we think like most people think, dog, I don't know anybody who do what I do. Yeah, because that God gave you that purpose. Like,
Exactly.
and purpose, after you find purpose, now you found fulfillment, because it's now you already know what you need to do. You know how you're going to do it. You know the type of people you're going to affect. You already know what materials you need to buy. You already know your blueprint, because you know your purpose now. You can go to sleep at night and I already know what I need to do. Like, I don't have to pray to God, like, God, what you need? No, I already know my purpose. Now, once you find your purpose, and you talking about social media, and so people gotta understand, and this is why I was able to be consistent, because I figured out, and I sat down and I studied social media and I studied algorithm. Algorithm and social media goes in 3 phases. The first phase is when you start posting your stuff and you start promoting your business and this and that and third. Your family and your friends are going to support you. They're gonna support you. They're gonna say, congratulations, I knew you was gonna be great. I knew it, man. Keep doing what you do. That's a great phase. The second phase is your family and friends are gonna get tired of congratulating you, because they're gonna say, look, man, I already congratulate you. I know you're gonna be big, and so your likes are gonna go down. And I'm telling you, like, this is how social media works. Your likes, your comments, all that's gonna go down. That's the second phase. But the second phase is the most important. And the second phase is the phase that most people get discouraged. Because now they say, well, dog, I don't have nobody liking my post. Nobody sharing my post no more. When I first used to post, everybody used to share it. I used to get 1,000 views. I used to get 500 views. Now I'm not getting the views. Like, what's going on? Most people quit in that phase. And that's why you hear people say, well, yeah, I started, but people didn't want to support me no more. But what you understand is that second phase is most important, because that's the phase where you have to go in overdrive. So that second phase is that's where you have to really post a lot. You have to really promote at an all-time high, because what's going to happen is the strangers, the people you don't know, are the next phase that you have to reach. And what's going to happen is, when you post so much, you got so much material, what's going to happen, you're going to post one post that's going to blow up, and it's going to reach the whole world, and you're like, man. So you're going to get a lot of likes on this post. And what's going to happen after that post, you're going to post something else, and you might not get that many likes. So you discourage again. Like, well, I just got so many likes on this post, but I ain't got no likes on this post. But you keep posting. Like, you keep posting. And what's going to happen? You're going to have another post. That's going to blow up. And when that post blow up, that's when the strangers, the people you don't know, start coming. You start gravitating to them. And what happens is, once you go, let's say you go viral, okay? Once you go viral, how you hold the people, once you go viral, how you hold them is, when they look at your page, they're going to see that you had content from years. They're going to see that you've been doing this. And the first thing they're going to say is, why I never heard of this guy. But let's just say you wasn't posting. Say you got discouraged. Say you say, man, I forget it. It's hard for you to go viral, because now you don't have no material. You can't keep the people fed because you didn't post nothing. So that's why it's important to constantly do your purpose, constantly post, constantly encourage, constantly write, constantly do poetry, constantly. I'm talking about till your hands get tired. You got to constantly do it, because you're not doing it. At that point, it sounds rough, but at that point, you're not doing it for your family and friends, because they already know that you're going to be good. You're not doing it for them no more. You're doing it for the strangers. You're doing it for the people you don't know. And once you get the people you don't know, it all comes together. It all comes. So it's 3 phases, man. It's really that simple.
Yeah, because when you look at people like, let's use Tabitha Brown, for instance. A lot of people think she just came out of nowhere and just like overnight success, but she's been doing these videos and stuff. I think her first video was her trying like a vegan sandwich or something like that. But over time, she kept doing videos and kept doing videos. And look at her now. She got her own clothing line. I think she got towels, all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Seasoning.
Right.
She stuck with it.
Right.
And that's, I think, what I know what the problem is people are looking for that instant gratification, that overnight success, because there have been some cases, very small, where people were overnight successes, but most of these people who we think are overnight successes, they've been doing this thing for years.
They wasn't over. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really wasn't overnight.
Yeah. You go back to this stuff, and they had stuff on YouTube before there was Instagram. They had videos up there just doing stuff, grinding, constantly putting stuff out.
Yep.
and then when you're doing that, what you're doing is you're perfecting what you're doing, because you're finding new ways. You're not being lag behind. You're not being behind on the times, because you're constantly doing stuff. You're constantly seeing stuff. You're constantly growing.
Right.
And then you, even with the stuff you did and posted a while ago, you go back and look at those things and see where you can improve. It's just like playing sports. You have game film. After you watch game film, boring. Nobody really wants to do it, but you gotta watch it to see what you did, see what you didn't do, see where you need to improve.
That's it.
Kev on stage said something in one of his reels, and he was like, it's not your job to. I can't remember how he said it. I have to come
I
back to
think
it
I
or whatever.
saw that, but I can't remember
Yeah,
the wording. Yeah.
yeah, but it was pretty much like it was your job is just to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to worry about who likes it and comments and sees it. And then another thing people fail to realize is like if somebody's following thousands of people, they're not gonna see your stuff all the time.
Yep.
It's just not gonna happen. It's nothing personal, but it's hard for people to see your stuff certain time. And then you got this whole thing where you have to engage as well and different things like that. But don't
Yep.
be discouraged. Like if you know you're supposed to be on these type of platforms and putting out your message and stuff like that, even with a podcast, you may have a bunch of downloads the first couple of episodes, and your downloads and listens may drop, but you still got to stick with it.
Yep.
You still got to stick with it, man. I mean, I look at it like when we were kids and stuff, and just something as simple as tying our shoestrings. It was difficult at first,
Yep.
but we stuck with it, and we can tie our shoestrings now with our eyes closed. Don't even have to look down.
Yeah.
I know that's a very simple example, but that's just how easy things can be. Like things can be just that simple if you don't give up.
No, hey,
if you stick with it.
Listen, man. Hey, T, I don't know if you remember, but you taught me how to ride a bike. I don't know if you remember that. It was at Granny House, and you taught. And the thing you told me was, you got to keep don't give up. Like keep trying at it. And we sat there until I got that bike and I started riding.
Man, I remember that. I forgot all about that.
Yep.
Wow.
Hey,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Because I remember that, man. Because you was getting so discouraged.
Yep.
And I want to say one thing too, man. I really am proud of you and how you've grown and the man you've become. You're more level-headed now. I think all of us pretty much had this problem with temper and stuff when we were younger.
Oh yeah.
I know I did. But very proud of you, man. I mean, you've grown to a positive person, man. You're an awesome father, man. I just want to let you know that I'm proud of you, man.
Appreciate it, man. Yes, sir. Same here, man.
Yeah, but before we get out of here, man, let the people know how they can follow you, how they can reach you, any information you want them to know.
Okay. Yeah. Please, if you're not following me, go to Instagram. Type Obey Success Lavoris Frazier. Go to Facebook, which I'm still doing the update, but go to Facebook, Lavoris Frazier, Obey Success. Follow me there. I can be contacted through, and I have a website, obeysuccess.com as well. Obeysuccess.com. But we're looking to do bigger things, so you're going to hear about me either way. But Obey Success is where you can find me. Instagram, Lavoris Frazier. I'm also on TikTok as well. Obey Success on TikTok. So definitely check that out. But yeah, that's how they can find me.
I appreciate you coming on, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, love you, bro.
Hey, I love you too, man.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and this is the place where poetry meets conversation. Hit that follow button and turn on your notifications so you won't miss an episode. Check out my blog, thebrownsugarcafe.blog. Also connect with me on Instagram at thebrownsugarcafe. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, remember, keep pushing forward.